Okay, so yesterday we were discussing on basics of networking and IP addressing, right? So now once we know why we are using CADR, right? So that is classless interdomain routing. Okay, so we are using 1 minute. Okay, so we are using classless interdomain routing. Okay, which means, so in interview they'll give you this CADR number. For example, they'll give you like 10.0.0.0 and they will tell you that this is my CADR number. Okay, now they will ask you how many IP address we'll get. So what we have to do?
Screen share ಮಾಡಿ.
1 minute. Okay, so in interview they might ask that. Okay, so yeah, so are you aware of CADR, that is classless interdomain routing? Yes. Then if yes, then they will give you this type of CADR range as an example, and they will ask you how many IP address will have, because these are very very important. Okay, or they will tell, now this is the one. Okay, now they will ask you that now this CADR we will have 65,000. What is happening? 536 IP addresses. Okay, so it will have this much, these many IP addresses. So they might ask you, now how will you divide this big network into smaller networks, because that is what we are going to learn today, right? So that is what we are going to learn today. Okay, now how do we divide? So again you should ask the question, how many IP address should each subnet? Okay, so that dividing the bigger network into smaller network is called as subnetting. Okay, so what is that called? Subnetting. Okay, means what? Dividing the big networks into smaller, okay, smaller networks, right? So now they will tell, okay Mithun, so I want you to create a subnet in such a way that it should be capable of hosting 100 machines. So what they will tell? They will tell you, create a subnet in such a way that it should be capable of having 100 machines. What is happening? 1 minute. Okay, so 100 machines are EC2. Okay, or any resources for that matter. Now what we will do? So as we discussed yesterday in the yesterday's session, that IPv4 follows 32-bit and every address is of the form binary. Means what? So why we say it will, so every address will be of the form. Some issue with my mouse today, 1 minute. Okay, and every address will be of the form 2 to the power 2 to the power x. Okay, now this x value should be, so you should calculate in such a way that when you do that 2 power x, it should be equal to, it should be capable of storing these many machines. Okay, clear? Okay. So now let us calculate this. Okay, now, so ultimately we need 100 machines, but we don't know the value of this x, right? So how will we calculate? So we need to represent 100 in the power of 2. Okay, so now 2 power x is, it is still unknown. 2 to the power x, it is still unknown, and then equal to, now what is 2 power 5 is 32, and 2 power 6 is how much? So 2 to the power 6 is 64, then 2 power 7 is 128. So we cannot get the exact 100 value. So what we will do, we will say that 2 power 7. So because 2 power 7 is 128. So the value is, the value of x is 7. So by this, what we get, the value of x is 7. So that means, then what will be our CADR range then? So the CADR range will be, okay, the CADR range will be that, just subtract from, so 32 minus 7, that will be how much? 28. 25, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so 25. So my CADR range will be, so as per this example, so my CADR will be 10.0.0.0 slash 28. Yeah. Clear this? Everyone clear with this concept? Any doubts, any confusion? Because this is very, very important, because after this we are going to do hands-on based on this CADR value.
Sir, 28 25 sir.
Oh, sorry, 25.
Okay.
Because 32 minus 7 is 25, right? So that is 25. Now you calculate 32 minus 25 is 7. So 2 power 7 is 128. So your each subnet value will be how much? 25. Clear? Everyone clear with this? Okay. Now this, let us keep this thing aside. Now there is one more important thing. So yesterday I told you that now this is the subnet. Okay, now 10.0.0.0 slash 16 is the subnet. Okay, now I told you that yesterday that in every octet the minimum value will be 0 and maximum will be 255. It cannot cross. Okay, so you cannot have an IP address saying 256 or 300. No. Have you ever seen an IP address with 300? No. So any IP address will not cross 255. Okay. So that is one part. And now if I say my first subnet, so subnet, I don't know what issue with my mouse today. Okay, so my first subnet, I will name the subnet as subnet 1, and then I will say 10 dot ten dot 0 dot 0 dot 0 slash 25. Okay, now that means I will have only 128. How much IP address will have? 128. So my subnet 1 will have 128. So my first IP address will start from 10 dot 0 dot 0 dot 0 to 10 dot 0 dot 0 dot 127. Okay, so this will be, 0 to 127, it will complete your 128 IP addresses. Okay, and then subnet 2, what you will have? So subnet 2 will have from 10 dot 0 dot 0 dot 128 to 128 to 10 dot 0 dot 0 dot 255. Getting the point? Clear? Now you may ask me, okay, then 255 is maximum, then the IP address is over, then only 256. No, because once this is over, the third octet will change. Okay, so for subnet 3, now see, just observe this. So for subnet 3, we will have the IP address from 10.0.1.0 to 10.0.1.255. Same 256 IP addresses. Or let me make it more clear, to 127, again 128 IP address, and subnet 4 will have from 10.0.1.128 to 255 to 10.0.1.255. Is it clear, everyone? So because this concept is very, very important, because without this concept you will not be able to create a single subnet inside the VPC. That is what we are going to do the hands-on now. Everybody clear? Any doubts? Now again this also got completed. Now again the third bit will change to 2. So this is how.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, 255, 25 you have taken, is this understood, sir? 127 also understood. But subnet 2 start from 128 to 255, ಅದು ಹೇಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರಿ sir?
See, after 128 what comes?
Sir?
After 127 what number comes?
128, sir.
So that is what I have taken.
Okay, up to 255 you have taken, right, sir?
Yes. So for one, in order for the third octet to change, your IP address should have should start from 0 and it should end at 255. You're getting it?
Okay. Subnet 3 you started from 0 and it has been taken up to 127 and 128. Sir.
No, I didn't take up to 128. I said it will have 128 IP. Don't get confused. I said it has 128 IP addresses. I didn't take 120 till 128. In every subnet it will start from 0 to 255 only. You're getting it?
Okay, sir.
See, it is not me who is making these numbering and all. This numbering is based on the binary bits. we all discussed, if the binary bits all are 0, then it will be 0. If all the 8 binary bits is 1, then it will be 255. Okay, so that is the lowest and the highest, right? But in between lowest and highest there are other values also, right? Yes or no? So if there is one, so in between 0 to 255 there is 1, there is 10, there is 15, there is 25, there is 36. So all this number will fall between 0 to 255. But as we have selected /25, so in the subnet we will have only from 0 to 127. You are getting it? If you are getting confused, please ask once again,
Okay.
because see, yesterday I gave you one website also, like cadr.xyz. Now you put the cadr range here, you will come to know. Now what I put here, 10.0.0.0/25. Now see here, what is the netwask value I told? 128, right? So as per this netwask value, it will start from 10.0.0 and it is ending from 10 to 0.0.126. But why they have not shown 127? Because the last IP address we cannot use. Okay, that will be used by our broadcast address. Okay, so that is why it is not showing here. But if you count from 1 to 126, okay, so it will be only how much? 126 IP address only. So but 2 IP address are missing. But that IP address is 0.0, 10.0.0.0, and that last IP address is 10.0.0.127. So the first IP address will be used by the router. Okay, and the last address is used by the broadcast IP address, okay, which we cannot assign to any resources inside the AWS. You just see, you will not find any EC2 instance having the IP address 0.0. It will be some other number, even or odd, but it will be some number, okay. Clear? So now you should be very careful while doing this type of numbering. Only then, if you give a proper number, only then you will be able to create a VPC. Okay. Now I will show you, then you will understand. Now what is a VPC? Okay. Now VPC is abbreviated as Virtual Private Cloud. Okay. Now yesterday I discussed, so let me duplicate this tab. Yesterday I discussed what is the address. Now can anyone tell me what is the address of the internet?
All zeros, sir.
Yeah. So the address of the internet is 0.0.0.0/0. Now how many IP address it will have? 32 minus 0. That will be 32 minus 0, that will be 32 itself. So 2 power 32 is equal to 4.3 billion IP address. How much? 4.3 billion IP addresses. Okay, but believe me, even these many IP addresses are falling short. So that is why what we did is, okay, so these we have only these many IP addresses as a public IP addresses. Okay. Now today you should know the difference between a private IP and a public IP. Okay. Right? Now imagine this is your house. Okay. So this is you and this is your sister, right? So you are inside your house. If you want to communicate to your sister, you will just talk to her in a normal way and she will also respond to you. So for this, you don't require a mobile phone to call her, right? So you don't require a mobile number with a unique number and all those things, right? But you will have your name, and you will have your name. So this it's so, but what communication you are making, that is local. What do you mean? That is local inside your house. That is not going outside your house, right? If you want, so same way happens inside VPC also. Okay. Now VPC is a what? Virtual private cloud. Okay. Now why it is virtual and private? Because the whatever the IP address is only within the AWS premises. Okay. So whatever the, so now this is a subnet. Now this is a VPC, and we create subnets inside the VPC like this. 1, 2. We can have many VPC like this. So we will create a VPC like this. Okay. Now, so these are subnets. So I created a VPC, and with the 4 subnets. So this VPC is same example I am taking, 10.0.0.0/16, and each subnet will have a value of, it depends actually. So for 10.0.0.0/25. So this only subnet 1 I am giving the value here. Okay, the rest I have already shown here. Okay, so we will put accordingly. Now whatever the IP address is inside the VPC, and the power or the connectivity will be inside the VPC only. Okay, so I can create one more VPC, okay, in my account. Okay, now imagine this is Nisha's account. Now I can create same VPC. Okay, I can replicate same thing. Whatever she has done, I can do the same configuration here also. Same thing. Same this CADR value also I'll take the same thing, because it is my own private. You're getting it? But only difference is I can also have a same CADR 10.0.0.0/16. But what will happen if you want to talk to Nisha? That won't be possible via using the private IP, because even though I have created a same VPC CADR, my power is only within my VPC. You're getting it? So, and even Nisha will not be able to talk to my EC2 resources, because her limitation is only within her local network. So our own local network. So you can, so if they ask you anything about the VPC, you have to imagine your house. Okay, so the power will be inside your house only. You can do whatever you want in the house. If you go outside the house, then you will not have any such what do you call that, power to do anything. You need some identity to talk to other people, right? So only then they will respond. Okay, so if suppose, then how will we talk to each other, or how will we talk to the internet? That is by having the public IP. So each resources in EC2, you might have noticed, it will have a private IP, and along with that will have a PIP, that is public IP. It will have a public IP also. So this public IP will be of the form 3 dot, okay, it will start from 3 dot something, 3 dot 122. Okay, so like that this IP address will be there. Clear this concept? So all the resources will use this public IP to communicate with the internet. Okay. So now let us get our hand dirty with the hands-on. Okay, so we'll do hands-on, then you will understand. Okay, now let me pick up one region. Okay, now let me go to Mumbai region. Okay, you can change your region. Okay, I believe everyone will have your own AWS account. So AWS has so many regions like this: Eastern, Northern Virginia, Ohio, Northern California, Oregon. So whichever region is closest to you. So as I am in India, Mumbai is closest to me, so I am selecting Mumbai. Okay, it's not mandatory to select only Mumbai. You can select whatever you want to. It is your choice ultimately. Okay. So now let us go to the VPC section. Okay, if you see, now if you all carefully observe, there will be one VPC by default which Amazon creates, okay, when you open a new account. Okay, so that is default. But we don't use the VPC created by AWS because in a production environment or in any organization, we don't use the VPC created by AWS. What we do is we go to the VPC section and as per the client requirement. So now this is what the client has required. Now he has given me this CIDR with 65,000 IP addresses and I need to create 4 subnets capable of storing 100 EC2 instance. So that is what I had to do. So I had to do these calculations and I had to create these many subnets. Okay, so let me show you how to create. Now click on create VPC. Okay, now you can name it as production or prod VPC. Okay, now you will give 10.0.0.0/16. Okay, in the IPv4 CIDR. Okay, now name is prod VPC and click on create. Now once you create a VPC, there are some things you should consider, you should observe. Whenever you create a VPC, by default it creates a DHCP server. Now what is this DHCP server? Now this is the server is responsible for providing you the IP address for your EC2 instances. Okay, so that is called DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Okay, so whenever you are adding the new EC2 instances, now this is responsible for giving you the IP addresses. Okay, see here, if you go inside you will come to know. Now this is the domain name. See, now this is responsible for ap-south-1.compute.internal. This is a Amazon provided DNS server. Okay, now all your host name will start from this only. I will show you once I create the EC2 inside it. Okay, you will come to know. Right, now along with it, what else it will create? It will create a routing table. What it will create? Now again I will go to the VPC. I will go inside the production VPC. Now this we discuss. Now the next is the route table. Now this is the routing table, it's create. See, now what are the routes? There is only one route. What do you mean by this? It means that anyone can talk to anyone inside this network. What do you mean by this? So anybody, whether you create 100 subnets, okay, Meaning you may divide this big network. Big network means how many IP address we have? That is 65,536 IP address as per this CADR range, right? So we have to divide that. We can divide it into any 200 subnets also we can create. So the meaning of that routing table is whatever the resources will be able to talk to each other. So that is the meaning of this. 10.0.0.0/16 local. Target means local. That's what I was trying to explain from the beginning. It means you can talk to anyone local. Just like inside your house, you can talk to anyone. Right? And all the IP address will be starting from 10 only. Whatever the subnets might be, it will start from 10. Okay. Clear? Yes. So now that is the route table. And along with the routing table, it creates a ACL, that is access control list. So this is a advanced topic. I will explain this in a later classes. If I explain it to you now, you will get confused. So I am not explaining you the network ACL right now. Okay. Now this is the VPC. Okay. Now let me go to the subnets. Okay, subnets. Why I have to create a subnets? Because we cannot dump anything. Now I will give you one more example of a wardrobe. Okay. Now if you purchase a wardrobe, will you purchase like this? Now this is one wardrobe. Okay. Now there is another wardrobe like this. It has various compartments, drawers and everything. Okay. Now which one will you buy? Will you buy this one or this one? I want answers. This is an empty wardrobe. You have
Second one.
Yes. Why? Because everyone will go with the second option, because this doesn't have any. This is big, of course. The same size is same, but it does not have a. This is not, the area is fully not divided in such a way to fully occupy in a efficient manner. So this will not be feasible for us. So we go with the, because we can have, so as per your requirement, we can store small items here, we can store big items here, and vice versa. So same way happens in the networking also. So we don't store anything inside a VPC, we create a subnet. We divide the big network into logical small networks called subnets. So while creating a subnet, it will ask for you to select the VPC. So we have to select the VPC, you select it. Now I will name it as prod subnet -1. Clear? And availability zone is, in Mumbai we have 3 data centers, but AWS calls them availability zone. So you can select any. So where you want to select. So now that is also again. So when you are creating a network, you can create a subnetwork in any of the availability zone. So now I am selecting 1A. Now please observe this carefully. Now I am giving this 10.0.0.0/25. So how many I have to create? 100. So create subnet. Now see here. Now see, it is given me a subnet ID, state is available, see the IP addresses. See how many are there? 120. Now you may ask me, Mithun, you told me it will have 128. Now where is the rest 5 addresses? The 5 addresses, as I told you, the first IP address, that is 0.0, will be taken by the router, Okay, and the last IP address will be taken by the broadcast. Okay, and the another will be taken by the gateway, and the two more will be taken by the AWS. They don't tell us why. Okay, but they will take. So I will give you the link. You will have more information there. So okay, let me open that link. Okay, and one by the, I told you, right, there will be a DNS server and the one will be taken by the DNS server. See here. See, this is the network address. Okay, and 0.1 is by the reserved by the router, and 0.2 is by the DNS. You take any one, so 0.2 will be by the DNS, and 0.3 is reserved by the AWS for the future reference, and 0.255 is a broadcast. I told, right, broadcast address. So 10.0.0.0 is the network address, 10.0.1 is the router, 10.0.0.2 is the DNS server, and 3 is for a future reference. They don't tell us why, they just tell future reference. So this you have to bookmark. If they ask, there is a 50-50 chance they might ask you in the interview. So you may tell them the same thing. Okay, clear? Yeah, so let me go inside the subnet. Okay, so that is why we have only 123. That is 128 minus 5 is 123. So first network, so that is 0.0 is taken by the network address, 0.1 is the router, and 0.2 is the DNS server, and 0.3 is the AWS feature use, and 255 is by the broadcast address, right? So just remember this. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 address, and 255 is 5th address. So you have to remember this. So 0, 1, 2, 3 you will not get. Okay, now I will try to create one more subnet. Okay, again this will create a, now you may think that why it is creating one more route table. No, it is not creating one more route table. This is the same routing table which was created once we created VPC. Okay, so don't get confused that it created one more routing table. No, it has not created a routing table. If you see, this is the main route table which gets created. See, main, it will be yes. Okay, so once you create a VPC, there will be a routing table and also there will be a ACL, and same it gets assigned to everyone. Okay, so don't get confused that, oh, what, this is creating one. No, not like that. So let me create one more, you will understand. Now let me create one more subnet. I'll select the same VPC. Now now I will name it as prod subnet 2. Okay, availability zone I will select 1B, and if I give same CIDR 10.0.0.0/25, now it will fail. It will fail or it will create?
Fail.
Who was that? Yes, obviously it will fail because it says the CIDR address overlaps with the existing subnet CIDR. So I need to give, so this will cover from 0.0 to 127. So I should give 128 here. Only then it will create. You're getting it? So from 0 to 127 I gave to subnet 1. Then 128 to 255 I gave to subnet 2. Now if you see here also same thing. See, 123 IP addresses. But here there will not be 0.0.0. So the network address is 10.0.0.128 is the network address. 10.0.0.129 is the router address. 10.0.0.130 is the DNS server, and from 131 to it will be assigned to the AWS EC2 instance, and the broadcast address will be 10.0.255. Here it will not be. For the first subnet, the broadcast address will be 127. 10.0.0.127 will be the broadcast address. Okay, so don't be strict with this IP address. You should think. Okay, clear? Now they have given this example for /24, but we are taking /25. So you should think. Now tell me what will be the third subnet. Now again I will create a subnet. Prod subnet 3. I will put it as 1A. Now what I should give? Third will be change.
1.
Yes. So 10.0.1.0/25. And then what will be the fourth subnet? Prod subnet 4. Again I will select 1B. 10.0.1.128 /25. Sharan, Rajshekar, clear? Ra?
Yes, sir.
Because these are very
Yes, sir.
very important. These are very basics.
Yes, yes.
If this is clear, only then we will be able to go ahead. Okay. Then after this, there will be a concept like public subnet, private subnet, then NAT gateway, internet gateway, and all those things. Okay. So this is how you create a VPC and 4 subnets. Now what we have achieved? So AWS VPC with 4 subnets. If I had to put it in a diagrammatically, so this is what we have achieved. See, now this is a VPC. So same concept. Okay, there will be 3 availability zone, right? So in A and B, I have not touched availability zone C because our account will be in a free tier. So AWS doesn't allow us to use a availability, that is third data center, they will not allow us to touch. Okay, if you select AZ, that is 1C, it will throw an error saying that there will not be some capacity error you will get, because that is because for free tier we are not eligible to use the availability zone C. Now what I have done is in the previous subnet creation, in A and B I have created two subnets each. Clear? So this is what I have created, this one and this one. Okay, so this is how. Now this part I will take up tomorrow, like internet gateway, how we connect to the internet, otherwise you will get confused. So all those things I will take tomorrow. Okay, see, VPC and subnet sizing. See, so I will share this link today, you just go through. Only then you will understand. Okay, any more doubt, guys?
ಸರ್ ಈಗ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ VPC ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ VPC ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ವಾ ಸರ್?
Yes, that is possible. So those things will come and advanced topical ಬರುತ್ತೆ. VPC to VPC ಹೇಗೆ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. Okay, that is called VPC peering. So that will come after your internet gateway, NAT gateway. ಈ entire week we are going to discuss only that is VPC with hands on. ನಿಮ್ದು ಈ ವಾರದಲ್ಲಿ VPC ಮುಗಿಯುತ್ತೆ. Okay, now today we are in that is second, that is Tuesday, right? So Friday we are we'll be completing the entire VPC, complete hands on, no doubts will be there. But by then you have to practice this stuff, like whatever I did here. You want me to share this? I will share it to you so that it will be helpful. Okay, and this link I shared already. Okay, so that's it. So we'll meet tomorrow same time, that is 12:30. Today due to my